Alright, Knockhill reverse track guide. Gonna look at a 54.4. Track is 18 degrees, so most of what I've seen is 18 degrees, so if it's a little warmer than that, just be aware. Things will be a little slower. Setups in the description. Go through it in slow-mo through the corners, and then run it out at full speed. So here we go. So coming up here, obviously this is going to be a big passing area, so practice the inside line because there'll be a lot of passing here. This is probably the easiest, safest place to pass on the track. So coming up to the green bits here in fifth gear, sort of looking for this V right here as the braking marker. When you get real light on fuel and the track's really rubbered in, you can go a little bit deeper into there, maybe at the end of this white line type thing. And on cold tires, you actually probably want to start braking even just at the start of the green bit here. Hard on the brakes. I like to apply the brake pressure stronger as you get deeper into the curb, just to feel out when you can get on the power and release the brake. Down into first gear, I could have probably got in here a little tighter. On cold tires and full fuel, watch this inside bit here. If you get on the power too early, or you're carrying too much speed, you're gonna go ass over nose and spin out and probably get collected by the cars behind you. So be careful on that on cold tires. First 3 laps ish, maybe even 4 or 5 laps. Just make sure you're not coming in here too hot because you will spin. So first gear, back on the power, nice and early. This is a big straight here again. This is probably going to lead up to another good passing opportunity, so practice the inside line, practice defensive lines. When you're unwinding the wheel, just watch you get on this grass. That's an X. So unwind the wheel, but make sure you're keeping it on the pavement. So coming up here, this lap is my fast lap, but I make one mistake here. To me anyway, I shift up into fifth gear. Don't do it. I've never found it to be faster. Leave it in fourth. And what you're doing is looking for the kink in the curb here. So right where it starts to break off to the right, that's sort of the braking marker you're looking for. If there's a car in front of you, obviously that's going to be kind of hard to spot. So getting hard on the brakes there. Again, this one you can't carry. If you carry too much speed, you're dead. If I had left this in fourth, I would probably brake a little deeper, closer to this white barrier. But because I was in fifth, I had to get on the brakes earlier and do the shifting, so that's why I say leave it in fourth. When the car's tires are hot and fuel is low, again, just kind of looking for that deeper into the kink to get the brakes, heavy on the brakes. And you want to turn in and try and keep the wheel as straight as you can. You want to really line it up, your turn in with the apex here. And that's important because if you turn the wheel too much, this downhill slope, again, you're just going to go ass over nose and spin out and get into that sand and a whole lot of trouble. My setup's 5/8, that's in the description below. I keep off the red curbs because of that setup. If you're running a higher ride height, you might be using the red bit more than I am. But again, with my setup, you want to run right up against the red bit, maybe just take a little bit of it. And on cold tires, you really have to watch this, because in order to straighten this curve as much as possible, you want to be on the curbs. But when your tires are cold and your tank is full, the angle of these curbs are going to push you again. So if you're carrying too much speed, they're going to push you wide into the grass, into the sand. So be careful about that. You'll be able to see all of it more clearly at full speed. But yeah, you got to use that curb once the tires are warm, even when they're cold. You just have to watch how much speed you're carrying. Getting on the throttle, again from third gear up into fourth and up into fifth up here. Or I guess actually leaving it in fourth. So getting on these curbs, looking for this sort of dark patch here. Again, tires are cold, you want to be braking a little bit earlier. Tires are hot and fuel is low, you want to be doing it later. This is the best sort of marker I have. I guess you can kind of use these white blocks as a guide, but if there's a car right in front of you, it's going to be hard to sort of spot your braking marker. So it's just going to take some practice. You know, you want to be, maybe like 2 seconds past the entry of the curb there, or 5-6 car lengths in. Getting off the throttle, just a touch of brake, just to steady the car and get the turn in balanced. You don't want to be having a loose back end here. Getting the wheel straight and then getting on the power, aiming for these pylons, and you want to be getting on full power. If your car's in the air, if you've jumped that red curb, don't be on full power, because when you land, things could go very badly. So again, just jumping this curb, just easing off the throttle a smidge, just to make sure the car doesn't spin on landing, and back on full throttle. And again, I don't like to take much of this red curb, just because of my setup. I do take a little bit here. It doesn't really jump the car that much, but yeah, just a little off throttle while your wheels are in the air there for a bit. So in fourth gear, gonna shift down quickly into second. A little bit of brake, more brake when the tires are cold, because you can spin it out here pretty easy. But once the tires are warm and fuel is low, not too strong a braking. Shifting down into second is gonna slow you, do a lot of the slowing for you. Again, just sort of rubbing up against that red curb, getting on the power as early as you can. If you can get on a little earlier than I did, if you could get on here at this point, be on the power, that's even better. And just unwinding the wheel, use all this track, all this curb. Again, obviously don't get into that sand, you're gonna have a bad day. So shifting up in to fourth, and this spot here, you can really, through this section, lose a bit of time. Not a boatload, but a decent amount of time. So there is an X here. I'm not 100% sure what the parameter is, but I keep it on the red curb. I think if you go over these pylons, you're going to get the X. And I've actually done it a few times, and I haven't found it's all that much quicker, really. But try it yourself, see if it gets you a little time, if you got to stay ahead of someone. So yeah, just aiming for this red bit of curb here. I'm just trying to keep the wheel, minimal amount of steering input. And then lining up again where this curb is turning to the right. Just before it turns to the right, you actually want to turn to the left, where basically these tire tracks are. And again, just keeping the steering input to a minimum. And again, I'm not, my setup's not a big thing for the red curb, so just kind of clipping it there as tight as you can to the red curb. So if you actually run it out wide here off the blue curb, if you keep it on the pavement, you do actually lose probably 2/10 easily. And by the end of the straight, that's probably even 3 or 4/10. So you really want to straight line it and keep it as tight to that red curb as possible. And if you're running a higher spring, you can probably jump that curb and not be punished too much. So the 5.8 with this guide, I've done a lot of laps. I have not bent a wing unless I've really screwed up and gone sideways or something. So experiment with it. You may be able to take more of the curb if you're more comfortable with that, the red curb. Give it a whirl. I think there can be some time gain there, but it also increases your chances of spinning out, so be careful about that. So that's 54.4, so hopefully that helps you, and we'll see you out there. Good luck. Try and rejoin safely if you get off track. We'll see you next time.